Okay, just wanted to do a quick Gears of War 4 review because I just finished the campaign on this. Now, I will say that, yeah, I'm a little late. I will say where was I going with that thought? I can't even remember. Great start to the video, huh? But, yeah, Gears of War 4. Oh, I was going to say, I only played the campaign. I don't really get into the Horde or anything anymore. Like, I only have time for Destiny multiplayer, pretty much. That's the only thing I have a desire to play. I don't really see how people do it. To me, I gotta dedicate, like, tons of time to a multiplayer and plan on playing it for, a year plus. I see, it seems like a lot of people just jump on some kind of multiplayer, play it for a week and quit. I can't do that. It just seems wrong to me, or a month, and, get their fill and leave. I don't play games like that, multiplayer wise, campaign wise, of course. But anyways, so this is speaking only of the campaign, really. If you're into the Horde mode, great. Maybe it's great. I know a guy who is, and he seems to love it the same way I play Destiny practically, where it's like, he plays it all the time for months at a time. And I'm sure that's what they want. And that's a totally different story. It may be great in that mode. I don't really know. Although I still think the controls would be an issue. But here's my thoughts of the campaign. I generally hated it. And I'm a big-time Gears fanboy from back on Xbox 360 days. To me, Gears of War on the Xbox 360 in 2006 was easily one of my seminal gaming experiences of all time. I mean, that was just a huge graphics jump. I don't care what any Sony fanboy says or anything. That was a huge, Gears of War in 2006 was a huge jump over any graphics that were available at that time, It was just amazing playing through for the first time. That was before kind of diminishing returns, where everything it's hard for anything to wow me anymore. Back then, you were still seeing these huge jumps in graphics, And Gears of War was just one of the very first games that brought those huge jumps in graphics to the masses. I think it came out about the same time as the PS3, and it was showing the Xbox 360 could do anything the PS3 could do, Because the Xbox 360 didn't see some amazing games till really Gears of War original kicked it off. Plus, it was a great game. It was fun. The atmosphere was great. Stunning visuals. Kind of had a little bit of a dark horror theme to it almost that they don't have anymore. It doesn't necessarily hold up today. I was playing it the other day through backwards compatibility. It's very monotone. Everything's like blue, gray. The graphics don't hold up anymore, really. But, for the time, it was just, to me, it was one of the greatest video game, like, touch points or inflection points ever. No question, Yeah, for sure it was. And, right up there with, I'd say one of the other most seminal things I've seen in video gaming was the Killzone trailer of 2000, whatever it was, 2007, 8, 9 even? Not the trailer, well the trailer, yeah, the CG trailer Sony lied about, but the Killzone game, the first one on PS3, that took graphics to a whole nother level. A whole level beyond Gears of War and all those games, and it took until probably Halo 4, I think, before the Xbox 360 matched that. But let's get back to Gears of War and my thoughts on the actual game campaign. I hated it. Coming from about 3 years in Destiny, some of my main problems were the game just feels clunky as hell. It's slow as hell. The cover system is annoying as shit. You get behind the cover and you're constantly like, oops, you're pressing, hey, oops, I stuck on the cover and I didn't want to, or I didn't move the right cover, or it's just annoying in this day and age. I don't think it's worth it anymore, Bullet spongy. That was one of my hugest problems with the campaign. The enemies are just these huge bullet sponges all the time, Well, what is up with that? You can shoot a guy for forever before he dies, and they're usually kind of far, and all you got is your Lancer or some sort of weapon like that, and it's kind of hard to hit them, and it's just annoying, And then another the gameplay, if I could sum it up in a word, it would just be frustrating, The power, so many of the guns are very frustrating. Like, you get small magazines, they don't shoot for very long. Now, a lot of this is colored again by playing 2,500 hours of Destiny in the last couple of years. And some of me says, hey, you just need time to get used to the Gears control scheme again. It's just different. It's not better or worse. But at the end of the day, I said, no, that's letting Gears off too early. It is worse. It is bad, I'm not going to say it's just different. It's not better or worse. That's a cop-out. It's worse. That's my opinion. And it's very bad. Compared to Destiny should be like the standard of smooth gameplay. It's amazing. And it's so second nature and smooth, and you don't have to think about it. You're just running, ducking, dodging, throwing grenades, shooting. Everything's butter smooth. Gears, it's like clunky, slow. Oh shit, I did this thing I didn't want to do again. Oh damn, I stuck onto this cover. What the fuck is this shit? I'm out of ammo. My gun has like 5 rounds. I have to reload every 2 seconds, and these enemies take 5 years to shoot down. They're all bullet sponges. It's just bad. And then the whole reload system, which I used to remember liking in the original Gears, I hate it now. It takes forever if you just let the reload process play out and you don't do the right bumper thing to fast reload, it takes forever, and your magazines are super small, so you get these super, you can shoot for 10 seconds, then you gotta reload. It takes an hour and a half, then you get to shoot for 10 seconds. Okay, if you do the fast reload thing, it may speed you up a little. But I always forgot, or half the time I'd forget, oops, I gotta do that fast reload. You'd fuck it up from time to time. It was so annoying. Now you gotta wait 3 hours instead of an hour and a half because you fucked it up, And even if you hit it, each successive one gets harder and harder, so, eventually you're gonna miss it probably. Yeah, it's just terrible, Terrible system. Very frustrating. You constantly screw up those reloads. And now it takes you, 4 hours to frickin' reload your tiny little magazine. It's ridiculous. Difficulty, here's another thing. You can't die. This seems to be the thing in games now because I'm playing through Halo 5 and it's the same way. By the way, I'm liking Halo 5 way, way, way better campaign. But I'm not here to review Halo 5. Difficulty, yeah, that's another thing. It's so, like I just talked about how the magazine's tiny, the reload's like, so you think it'd be difficult? No, it's so easy. Every time you get downed, basically, your enemies will come revive you. Every time. And like I said, apparently that's a new thing in normal difficulty, which I've always played the Gears games starting on normal difficulty. I was enough of a fanboy that I beat several of them on insane difficulty. But, it's... So yeah, where was I? The difficulty. If you get downed by the enemy, every single time your AI partners are going to pick you up and come and revive you. So it's essentially impossible to die. It doesn't make the game any more fun, but I mean, you can die. There's a few sections that you can die because you just die instantly. Oh, hold on, I'm gonna have to put this on hold. Okay, I got interrupted there. Forgot where I was talking about. But yeah, the power, I think I was talking about the weapons. The power weapons, I couldn't stand them. Like, they're not good. They're garbage. Like, what's the point of, I don't even remember the names of them. There's one that shoots discs, and they started getting really contrived around, like, Gears 3, or Gears 2. They started putting in all these weapons and, like, there's only so many ways you can shoot a gun. This is the same problem Destiny has and every other game has. How are you going to keep cramming more guns in a game when they all do the same thing? And you can't really blame the game to an extent. But with Gears, Gears 1 was great with the gun selection. By Gears 2, it was like, oh, let's pack in 50 new guns, all of them that shoot weird and do different weird shit and burrow into the ground and come up, and they're all super annoying and worthless to me. And yeah, there's this, I don't know if it's new or I don't even care anymore, but there's a gun here that shoots up kind of a power gun that shoots discs. There's the usual mortar. I got to where I just hated them all. They were fucking worse than just using your stupid shitty machine guns. And I would just leave them on the ground. I mean, they were so annoying. They would just get you killed. They made you so slow. You had to sling them up on cover, like all heavy. And then you just get shot, because, I don't know. They were worse. How does that make sense that the power weapons are worse than the fucking normal weapons? but that's how I felt. I got to be where all I did was keep the Lancer and the main. I forgot the name of it, but it's the main gun of the bad guys. I can't remember what their name either. Not the Coalition, but the Locusts, I guess, or whatever. There's robots in here. Okay. The guns they have are mostly annoying too. They have a sniper rifle that's really annoying with all this like they keep inventing new, more annoying ways to shoot these stupid guns. This one, it had something. It's called the M-bar. It's something like where you aim at the enemy, you pull the trigger, and then only if it's on a valid target, the crosshair's on a valid target, it charges up for like 5 seconds or something. It takes a long time. Then you have to release the trigger when it's on a target to fire it. I think if you're not on a target, then it just like goes dead again, kind of. And you have to start the whole thing over. You don't fire a shot, but it just goes boom, powers down, and then you have to charge it all. It's super. It's kind of a sniper rifle type weapon is the idea, but it's like the robot version of the sniper, I guess. It's super, super, super annoying. One of the worst examples of the garbage they do in this game. There's tons of flinch, like annoyingly. Like if you have the sniper and you're trying to shoot at enemy and they shoot you, you flinch so bad. Like Destiny has flinch, but it's not this bad. The weapons are just a horrific chore. You know, it got to be where I ignored everything. I'd use the sniper if it was a level that called for that. That was about it. Every other thing I didn't want. You know, I just switched to the I can't remember the freaking name. The Lancer and the other one. I mean, literally. And I used the shotgun some. That was horribly annoying too. Oh, and they got these horribly annoying. They always have these annoying run at you enemies. Which in Destiny, they got them too. They're called Thrall. But in Destiny, they're still pretty, like, they're less annoying than all the other rushing enemies in other games. The rushing enemies in Gears 4 are called Juvies. They run at you. They're annoying as fuck. You know, you can't draw a bead on them. They get in this no man's land where they're like really close and it's hard to shoot them with anything but like a shotgun. Even then it's hard to shoot them. Like if they get really up close to you, you can't really shoot them. You have to. I eventually kind of figured out in the second half of the campaign to just melee them when they get close, and that's just melee them all the time when they get close. That's about all I did towards the end. But, you know, that's not a lot of variety. You need to be able to shoot them somehow. But they're just badly designed. They're annoying. You know, every time you see them, you're like, oh, God, more of these things. You know, Gears has never handled rushing enemies well. Oh, yeah. I mean, like I say, if you live Gears and Gears is what you're used to, and maybe you like it, but I couldn't stand it. The boss fights are not creative. They have these bugs you're fighting the whole time. I don't... Just like all these stories, I don't pay any attention to them. I don't give a shit, you know. Just doesn't flow well. I will say the story was a little better than like Gears 3 and 2. Like, those were trying to be so heavy and make you cry and all this nonsense. And we hired Hollywood writers, and the dialogue was worse than ever. Just almost as bad as it is in the Uncharted series. You know, the Uncharted series has the worst dialogue, and Accused of War is pretty close to as bad. There it was. I will say this one, like, you don't care about the story, but it's much more pleasant. And to me, the Gears story needs to be like pleasant and not distraction, and not trying to be a movie, and not trying to be super gory and heavy. Like, I think it was 2 or 3 where Dom's wife gets horribly killed, and it's horrible. That kind of brought me down, and I'm like, I don't want that in my Gears. You know, I want a popcorn flick, so to speak. Not a Michael Bay movie. A popcorn flick can be a little darker. You know, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be colorful and happy, but it doesn't. I don't want a fucking, you know, depressing shit story and trying to make you cry like they made such a big deal out of. So yeah, it doesn't have all that, and it's an improvement on the other Gears as far as the story, in my opinion, except maybe 1, which is still the best one in the series that I can, you know. But this is better than 2 and 3 as far as the story. It's lighter, it's less annoying, it's kind of likable, and it's, you know, and it's kind of just there. Marcus is back. A couple of the old characters come back at one point. Coltrane and Baird. Baird's bald now. they come back to help you, and it's kind of cool. Actually, it was cool. A little chill goes down. Oh, I remember Coltrane and freaking Baird. They handled that well. But and they look old now. And Marcus is there. But yeah, so on the whole, the story's an improvement over 2 and 3. It's nothing amazing or mind blowing, but it's not as annoying as though it's not as bad. The bosses though are not really. There's bosses every so often, but even not really. They're not graphically impressive. They're not anything fun. There's not that many of them. Gears has not handled bosses well from the beginning, in my opinion. Like, they have these awesome Brumacs, and they never exploit them. You fight them, but if you fight them, you're always fighting with a mech or something. Like, why can't you just fight them? Or, in this one, you have this convoluted process to take one down. Like, you have to shoot the blisters on, and then you have, it doesn't feel like you're really fighting the damn thing. It feels like you're going through this paint by numbers process to take it down. The graphics, though, are really, really good. Most people don't talk about it as one of the best looking games, partly probably because of all the Sony bias in the media. But it looks freaking amazing. It looks as good as all these Sony games. People are always. It looks as good as Uncharted and all these, I think. Maybe not quite, I don't know, because I haven't played Uncharted 4 on the PS4. But I mean, it looks great. People aren't giving the credit. Holy smokes, does it look good? It's a great showcase on Unreal Engine 4. It's a lot more colorful than 2 and 3. That's a positive. It's not just, those two games were super brown. This one is, it's green. It has a lot of greens, blues. The colors are subtle, but you spend a lot of game underground, though, and that is kind of annoying, I found. It's super nice when you come out into the daytime and the outside all the time. Just like in any Gears game, but there's too much, like, it's constantly this, you're in this underground muck like 80% of the game with these reddish brown colors being the only color theme, fighting these kind of gross slug things, not slug things that you fight, but they're like their pods that these juvies or something come out of. I don't even freaking remember. They're kind of gross. Not, like I said, I don't even pay attention to the stupid story or remember what the story behind the enemies were. But there's the juvie things which kind of run at you. There's locusts at times. There's the robots at times. They're all pretty annoying. And, on the whole, I've got to rate this game very poor. There's a part towards the end where you start piloting these mechs, and that's a little fun. Kinda. Just overall, very disappointing. The controls are so archaic. I really don't know where they go with the series now. The controls are so bad. This game has the worst grenade system, and it always has. You go to throw a grenade, it's like a fucking chore. It really is. And any other game, Halo, Destiny, which is the gameplay king, Destiny, when you want to throw a grenade, it's great. It's fun. You have something to help you. It's positive. And Gears is like, oh god, I gotta throw a fucking grenade again, Do I have to? Same thing as power weapons. I always feel like obligated to pick up power weapons until I just gave up on them. But, like, I gotta pick up this power weapon. Oh, do I have to? Because I know it's just gonna be a pain in the fucking ass. Same thing with throwing grenades, I'd blind throw them, kinda. I always try to force them into my repertoire, but it never feels natural. It never feels fun. It never feels helpful. Blind throwing the grenades is mildly helpful. That's about as far as you get. The whole system they came up with to target your grenades, the supposedly improvement on normal games, horrible. Absolutely horrible. And it always bounces where you don't fucking want it to go anyway. So what's the fucking point? I guess it's supposed to show you right where it goes. No, it shows you, like, it just bounces. It's much worse than any other, much less accurate than any other grenade throwing system I can think of. In Destiny and Halo, you just throw your fucking grenades and it's fun and helpful. And you're glad to have grenades. And Gears, it's like, oh god, I gotta try to force myself to use these shitty fucking grenades again. And I hate them. And they never go where the fuck I want them, Like I said, the best I could do, eventually I just started blind throwing them a lot. And that don't go too far that way is the problem. But if something's reasonably close, maybe you can get a hit or two. This game was just terrible. I don't know what the point of the Gears franchise going forward is. To me, the controls are just too archaic in this Destiny, post-Destiny world, It's past its time, and I'm a guy who's always been on Xbox, and I've always said, oh, I love Gears and I love Halo. Well, it's almost not true anymore, I hate to say it. No, that doesn't mean I would prefer Sony, because I don't like Uncharted. I played through Uncharted on PS3. I don't like Killzone. I played through Killzone on PS3. I think they're both those games are like average. They're both like, if I had to put a number, I'd say there's a solid 6 to 7 games. They're okay, but Uncharted 2 was the one I beat. I played through the whole campaign on. It's really boring, I still don't want to play another Uncharted. They're so boring, and talk about bullet sponges and endless fighting that you don't really want to do, So I'm still, I would still go Xbox for the controller, the ecosystem, the brand loyalty. I know people on there, but as far as Halo and Gears, I got to thinking about it. The two pillars of Xbox franchises, they still intrigue me more than Uncharted and whatever else Sony has, but The Last of Us. But they're fading in my opinion. They probably need to get rid of Gears. Its control scheme is archaic. I doubt this one sold particularly well. It's archaic. The controls are just archaic. They're terrible. I could tell that the game is probably kind of rushed too. Not rushed, but there wasn't a whole lot of people working on it. Only like 100, I believe, which is low these days. I don't know. You can kind of tell. It's not like they put just a ton of time in it. The graphics are nice, but other than that, so yeah, I gotta give this a. I wouldn't recommend it. I think the franchise needs to be looked at as far as whether it's something Microsoft needs in its stable going forward. Single player games like this are on the way out anyway, Everything is going to Destiny, Overwatch, games as a service, Rainbow Six Siege, everything. Grand Theft Auto Online, that's the king right there, Grand Theft Auto Online, as far as money making. So yeah, get this out of here, Microsoft. Either you're going to have to revamp the control scheme, get rid of the shitty way of throwing grenades, totally redo the weapons and make them actually good and fun, or you got to get rid of this game, The Coalition didn't do a great job with this game. It's okay. I don't hate it like I probably did Gears 2, but, well, I hate it, just not for the same reasons. Overall, I would give this game, I'm thinking right now between 3 and 4 out of 10. I'll give it a 4 out of 10. That's where I'm at with it. And I started playing the Halo campaign right after this, and instantly it's just clear to me how much better Halo is. Halo feels like it's the same story you don't pay attention to, because they're all too complex to pay attention to. But it was much more pleasant. The graphics are probably worse, but in a way better, if that makes any sense in Halo. If Halo feels smooth, the gun system is so much better in Halo. All the guns are usable. It's not all bullet sponges. The colors are so much better in Halo. So yeah, I'm going through Halo 5's campaign right now, and I'll be back with a review on it soon. But for Gears of War 4, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Microsoft, I don't think this game has a future, to be honest. And that's coming from a guy who was Gears of War all the way at one point. Will I get excited about the next? Gears of War is like the Xbox franchise besides Halo. And there was a time where I probably liked Gears better. But, at this point, I had to force myself to finish this one. But yeah, I'll be back with my Halo 5 review. And have a good one.